The manufacturing sector in Kenya is definitely one of the huge consumers of power. If you look at the Kenya power consumption, the manufacturing sector consumes about 60% of the power generated in this country. Definitely power is one of the inputs into the production process, and it has an impact on the competitiveness of the sector. Our key concerns definitely are to continue moving towards low cost of power. The government has moved over the years significantly to about 14 US cents per kilowatt hour. We are still working and ensuring that as the manufacturing sector, we can have power at the most competitive rate in comparison to our competitors in the region and around the world. We're also keen about the quality and reliability of power in the country.
How is it now?
The quality of power at the moment could be better. We've seen a lot of manufacturers have alternative lines installed to their plants, and the energy efficiency audits that they're undertaking are actually also assisting them to identify ways to utilize their power better. The quality and reliability can be improved, and it's a conversation that we continually have with Kenya Power and the ministry. I think you listen to the PS and the MD of Kenya Power speaking, and they're also keen about improving the quality and reliability of power because it does affect our productivity at industry level.
In terms of cost, how do you think this can be brought down?
The cost of power, as I've said, has come down, and the reason it has not come down to initially when the government started the 5,000 megawatts project, the target was to get the cost of power to below 10 US cents per kilowatt hour, bringing it maybe to about 9 US cents, which would have been quite a competitive price for industry. It has moved from about 21 to 18 and eventually to about 14 US cents. What has happened is that you have seen the government move more from thermal energy. You've seen plants in geothermal kicking in, over 300 megawatts in the grid from geothermal. You've also seen more reliance on issues like solar power. They're trying to get the Strathmore project on the grid. So what happens is when you have that energy mix that has a lot of renewable energy, the cost of power comes down because you're not relying on very high cost power. So when you carry out an energy audit, if you're able to implement the findings of the audits, it actually results to about a 30 to 40% reduction in your cost of power, meaning that companies who've been able to implement the findings from their audits have actually realized a saving of about 30 to 40% in the cost of power. Yes.
How is the general use? Is it high at the moment? How are companies behaving in terms of use of power?
At the moment, the use of power is in line with the production capacity of companies. So companies that have high production capacity or who are in sectors that are very energy intensive, like the steel sector, the cement sector, the utilization of power is quite high in industries like that. And they have benefited greatly from the energy audits because you can imagine if your bill is about 20 million or 30 million, if you make a saving on that, even if it's a 10% saving, that significantly reduces your cost of production.
Maybe lastly, what
Yes.
would be your word to companies and industry in terms of why they should save power?
My word to companies and industries is that we live in very interesting times. There is a lot of climate change happening, and part of the reason is the use of power and the sources of energy that we use. If we are able to be more energy efficient, our economy can grow, but grow in a very green way, meaning that our CO2 emissions will be reduced and we'll be able to have a more sustainable future for the children and the generations that are coming. So we encourage industries to take advantage of the energy audits. We encourage them to invest in implementing the findings of these audits. And as another thing we are doing, we are working with the AFD, which is the French Development Agency, under a program called SUNREF, the Sustainable Use of Natural Resources and Energy Finance. And out of that, we are able to offer a credit line that is affordable credit for energy efficiency projects and renewable energy projects at very concessional and low rates, about 5% interest rates and good repayment period. And what it is doing, it's encouraging people to actually invest in these projects because they are seeing their return on investment much faster. So we encourage them to take that up.
The audits tell the companies how you've been using your power. And
Yes, and this is how you can save. And for example, it can identify that this equipment you've been using is probably obsolete and you need to upgrade it. And And we've had companies like Thicker Cloth Mills, Alpha Fine Foods, getting the credit line that I've mentioned from AFD and actually investing in new equipment, which has made them more competitive, more efficient, and their return on investment is actually going to be quite good.
How many audits
in
have
terms
you
of
done
that.
so far?
We've done over 700 audits in companies. This is both large companies, SMEs, and even government institutions.
Okay.
Yes.